Hey, this is Francisca and this is my mid-crisis life. I'm really tired today. I just started a new job and as new jobs are, it's pretty exhausting. But I really just wanted to make a video because I've been thinking about it since yesterday. So let's see if I can get through this without without narcolepsy. Yeah. What's the word? All right, so a while ago, a long time ago in fact, I made a video because I just started doing this festival work and working as like just on the bar, behind the bar at festivals, and it was something that I've never done before, and it felt completely out of my depth, and it was something that was just really overwhelming for me, to be perfectly honest. And at the time, it got me to thinking about how, so often we can belittle and minimize the things that are going on for us because, society or our parents or our friends, our community, our learnt beliefs tell us that this isn't supposed to be a big deal. And we often say to ourselves, don't be ridiculous. Why are you stressing about that? That's such a silly thing to stress about. Why are you being so silly? But actually, it's important to pay credence to these things, to see the value and the worth in acknowledging these things and processing them. And ever since I made that video, because I was talking about going and doing the process and going into meditation, and there's a lot of times that I've spoken about it and a lot of times that I think about it while I'm doing it. Ever since then, I've wanted to make a video about what it is that I do when I'm meditating. And I thought really the best way to describe it would be to give an example. So I woke up at like 5 a.m. yesterday, and I was just lying there. I wasn't tired at all, and I was thinking about exactly this. I was thinking about making this video, right? And as I was thinking about making the video, I thought, well, what I should probably do is I should probably do it. Let's do the process and see what happens. So the first thing that I think is really important to speak about is purging. So I've done a lot of plant medicine, whether it be psilocybin or ayahuasca, Cambo, San Pedro. Done a little bit of everything, and I've done it quite a few times. Not as many times as people that I know, but enough to know a little bit. And they talk a lot about purging when you take, for example, ayahuasca. One of the things that they will tell you, expect that you're going to shit yourself, expect that you're going to puke, but this is the energy that's been dormant in your body releasing itself out of your body, and it does it in a very violent way, let's say, in a very extreme way in those circumstances, because it's such an intense experience and it's a lot of stuff that you're removing all at the same time. So purging really is your body getting rid of, releasing out of it all that's no longer needed. And aside from shitting and puking, there are a lot of other ways that your body can purge. So for example, some people, and I'm not just talking about in the middle of ayahuasca ceremonies, but people can shout, your body can shake, you can sweat, there can be like a lot of physical movement. Sometimes people go into silent screaming. For me, my body purges a lot through crying and through yawning. That happens to me all the time. So there are all these different ways that your body purges stuff out, and I think it's important to talk about that, because if you do this kind of meditation, this kind of like somatic release, this physiological release out of your body, this energetical release out of your body, there might be some things that you notice happening, and it might seem a little bit strange and a little bit scary as it's happening. But really I wanted to talk about the meditation that I did yesterday. So what I do when I go into meditation is I start by talking to myself through the meditation. So I adopt this kind of practitioner type stance, I guess, like, and voice. So going into the meditation, I will always start by telling myself to relax, for my body to relax down. I use the word relax a lot. I talk and I begin to notice all of the points at which my body meets the surface beneath me. So there'll be certain points, and if you look for them gently, what you'll find is those obvious points that you know where your body's going to meet, but then there'll be little bits as well that you may not have noticed previously. So the point is just to kind of observe that and to see that your body is resting on that surface, and to feel your body relaxing further and further into that surface. So you feel each point. Then I make a point of telling myself to notice my breath. So I just start to watch it. I start to observe it as it comes in and out. Once I've kind of seen the pattern of that, and it's not really about changing it, it's not about forcing yourself to breathe in any way, it's just about noticing it. Then what I will do is I will take some meditative breathing. So I will take some kind of conscious, purposeful breathing. So I either do it in rounds of breathing in for 4, holding my breath for 4, breathing out for like 8 in like a continuous slow breath, and then holding my breath at the bottom for another 4. And I really do that kind of like until it's settled. But I know for some people counting can be distracting or disruptive, so it's also just to say in as you breathe in and out as you breathe out, but to watch your breath from the very beginning of the breath right to the very end of each thing. So each time you breathe in from the bottom to the top, and then out again from the top to the bottom. Or you can say things, very simple things like I am breathing in and I am breathing out. And then what I do is I start at the very top of my head and I start to scan down my body. And you will have got some kind of idea about this sort of thing while you're noticing all the areas that your body is touching the surface. But I do a purposeful scan, so I start to scan my head and from my head down. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for some kind of sensation. And the way that I like to describe this idea of looking for sensation is like this. So say, for example, you're in a group of people and you've decided that you want to say something, and your brain knows, oh, I'm going to make a point in a minute. What you haven't done is you haven't created an entire sentence, statements, paragraphs in your head. You're not like, okay, right, well, I'm going to start with this and then I'm going to move on to this point and I'm going to say this. You've got no real development in terms of what words you're going to use. You just have this feeling that you're going to say something and you know what it is that you're going to say when you get there. Now imagine that somebody cuts you off or interrupts you before you get to say something and you forget what it is that you're going to say. Okay. What your body does is it starts searching in the body for that sensation of what it is that you were going to say. Again, it's got no words, nothing tangible, nothing concrete to hold on to, but it knows that you were going to say something, and it searches for this feeling. And it's like, if that's ever happened to you and you get that feeling, that moment where you're like, that's it, that's what I was going to say. It still doesn't have any form, but you know what it is. This is kind of what you're looking for when you're looking for sensation. You're not looking for anything specific. You're just looking for that feeling where your body goes, ah, that's it, right? So when you get this feeling, because what you've got to remember is what the brain does, and the brain's function is to organize, especially your prefrontal lobe. You're organizing things, you're organizing information. It's looking at hazards, it's problem solving, it's strategizing. This is the purpose of that part of your brain, right? So your brain automatically, once you find this sensation, will tell you what it is. It will say, oh, that's that, and it's because of this, and it's this feeling, or is it this, or is it that, or is it the other? And what you need to do is you just need to give your brain a little minute to just do its little crazy monkey thing, right? Just be like, okay, thanks. But that's not necessary right now, right? So I'll give you an example. When I was meditating yesterday, I have this standard kind of anxiety that lives in my solar plexus, and whenever I'm scanning my body, I have this expectation that whatever I find is going to be in the solar plexus, because that's where I always find sensation, always find pain, anxiety, whatever else. But because I wasn't immediately drawn to that, because I know that I have a tendency to do that, what I actually found is through just observing and allowing that sensation to come up, I found that actually there was a lot of sensation in and around my left hip. And I know that your left side is the past, and that your left side is also your mum. So it makes sense that there's like a past mother wound in my left hip that's being held there in energy in that area. And as I sat and watched this, and it's about just having that kind of gentle patience with yourself to let this thing emerge. So emergence is like the most important word I think that I would say in this whole video. You're letting it emerge. You're not searching for it. So the same way that you would just remember what it is that you were going to say, you would also let that emerge, right? So by just observing this and letting it emerge, I saw that there was like this weird dark energy that was all around it, and it was moving like this black tar glob that was kind of moving around my hip. And then all of a sudden in my head, I heard something say, "You need me." And I was like, ooh. Do I? Who are you? Do I need you? And I was having a very light conversation with this thing, and what it said to me it said, I was the only one protecting you through all of your rapes. I said, okay, which rapes? It said to me, all 3 of them. Said, okay, makes sense, right? That if I've experienced sexual harm, that might store itself in and around the area where my sexual organs are, right? So I acknowledged it, and I thanked it, and I said, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being there, protecting me. Like, I love you. I really love you for what you did. You did bits for me, man. But I don't need you anymore, you know? But I have great thanks. And once I thanked this thing, it kind of disappeared. And then, as I was watching, I felt this real deep sensation in the back of my hip. And all of a sudden, this crazy voice came in my head, and it was like, I'm the sister witch. Oh, fucking hell. All right. Hi. And I realized by watching it that there was just actually this real acute agony that was in this place. And again, after a while, I asked it to leave. I thanked it for all that it did. And after I'd spent some time doing that, what I like to do right at the very end of every meditation, however long this process takes, is I like to visualize there being like a golden light that comes down and again goes from like either the bottom or the top of my body, or even from the place outwards, like whatever feels good for you. And I see it filling up every single cell in my body. But this time it was actually like black with like flecks of gold in it, like, you know, like that black sand that you get on certain beaches. It was like that. And the funny thing is that as I was watching this fill up my body, and I was seeing it go into all my cells, and I was feeling it going into all my cells, I automatically just started yawning. My body started shaking. I started like stretching, just completely involuntarily. And the funny thing is that at exactly the time that I finished this whole process, my alarm immediately went off to start the day. So it kind of let me know, like, yep, you're done. So I don't know. I mean, for me, that's such a vital process of somatic release, of helping my body to discover and uncover and allow to emerge traumas that are kind of stored up in my body, that want to talk to me, that want to be acknowledged, that want to be thanked, and actually really do want to be released. They don't want to be there. And I just thought that sharing that process might help some other people. Okay, cool. Something that I'm grateful for. Right now I just feel really grateful that I have travelled safely back and forth to work for the last few days. It's like a 3-hour round trip to where I'm going. It's a lot of motorway work, and it's making me notice actually how much of an anxious driver I am, and how much of that I hold in my hips. I notice my legs tightening every single time I have to like perform a maneuver, or someone goes past too fast, or that car might pull out in front of me, or oh fuck, there's another fucking massive roundabout, or Jesus, I'm going like 79 miles in a 70 mile an hour zone. So I'm just really grateful that I'm safe, and that I've been kept safe, and that I'm home safe to see my family and to see the ones that I love. Okay, and now I think I'm gonna go and collapse. So okay, that's all.